So Cynthia Johnson, who has joined us before, and we're so excited to welcome her back. She joined us at our Event Planner Expo, and she's back again. She's an entrepreneur, a marketer, an author, a keynote speaker. She's the founder of Bell and Ivy, an integrated marketing communications firm based in California. She published her first book, The Platform, The Art of Science of Personal Branding, in 2019. Cynthia has been a keynote for companies like Alibaba, World Government Summit in Dubai, Global Ventures Summit, Indonesia, Mexico, and the list goes on. She's been involved in influencer marketing campaigns for PayPal, Walmart, American Express Business Platinum Card. Cynthia works with a list of top personal branding experts, and she was named one of the top 12 female entrepreneurs inspired by Darling Magazine and top 20 in SEO by Guardian. She's a contributing columnist to Entrepreneur and has worked with Forbes, Times, and several other industry-specified top-tier publications, but I could talk about her for days. So I just want to welcome her to the stage. Hi, Cynthia. How are you?
Hi, thank you so much. What a great introduction.
I mean, I couldn't say it all. There's so much to share about.
I was like, wow, thank you. It's like, 10, 12 years of my career just like laid out. It's beautiful. Thanks so much for having me. It's exciting to see all of these women here. What a big crowd.
Yeah, no, we're excited, and we've been on since 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we're in like the home stretch. So we have you as kind of like the wrapping up and so forth. So we're excited, but we know how important personal branding is. And so we'd love for you to kind of break it down to the audience. Like, what is personal branding?
Yeah. So what's interesting is personal branding, when it first became a term, which was actually in the late 90s, it was this sort of Andy Warhol, everyone will get their 15 minutes of fame. And then it turned into everyone's going to be a YouTube celebrity. Well, the truth is that not everybody wants to be a YouTube celebrity. Not everyone will be a YouTube celebrity that wants to be, but everybody has a personal brand, and everybody needs to leverage one in order to get a job or, transition your career. I don't know, get married and change your last name if that's something you choose to do. There's all of these reasons why, especially as women, we're faced with our lives being exposed online and having to make these really pivotal decisions over and over again. And so when I think of personal branding, or when I speak about personal branding, it's not necessarily this tool. It can be a tool to, create influence and become famous, et cetera. But really, it's how do people see you online? And is it working for you or against you? Just because you don't think you have a personal brand does not mean you don't have one. If you've ever been to a wedding or a baby shower or, outside, your face is probably somewhere on the internet. And you should know that when someone looks you up, what they're going to find, and you should be in control of it. Because at the end of the day, it'll help you get to the next level, to the next job. Or maybe keep your job if there's some things on there you don't want, and you can get it removed. We can get into that a different day.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Do you think that everybody should have a personal brand?
Yes, I think, I'll say I know that even if it's just you're dating, or, when's the last time you met someone face to face? You made a call. I mean, this is pre-COVID. Let's go there. Where you made a call and you didn't look them up first. And if you don't find anything about the person, doesn't it often send like the wrong message? You're kind of like, are they a criminal? Are they lying to me? Did they have to change their name for some reason? So what we don't find can become just as important as what we do find. So yes, everyone should have one, and at the very least, take the time to figure out what's online about you, and structure it in a way where you're in control. And I like to compare it to a credit score, right? Everybody, you already know what someone's going to find when they're looking at your credit score, but you also already know who's looking, right? That's part of the deal. With personal branding and digital, persons online, you don't know. People are looking you up. I could have looked up any single person here today before this event, and you wouldn't know. But if I did, you should at the very least understand what I'll be able to find and be in control of that.
No, that's really important. So, and I think oftentimes that was a good analogy of the credit score versus personal branding. So that kind of hits it really home. Another question: how can the average person who is just maybe looking for a career change or advancement leverage their personal brand? What would they do?
So first and foremost, it's really for normal people, right? By normal, I'm saying myself, everybody who just wants to go to work and like and go to the beach on the weekend or something. We It's really hard to, one, be objective about ourselves, and two, promote ourselves, because it doesn't feel authentic. It doesn't feel honest or real. You feel like you walked into a room and started screaming how wonderful you are, and that's part of it. So you need to enlist a couple of people. First thing is you need people who love you endlessly, and then people who know one version of you. So a colleague, and let's say your mom, right? And you want to have your mom and your colleague both chime in on your bio, on your headshot, uh, on your LinkedIn profile, the basics, right? Because your mom's going to say you're wonderful no matter what you do. Your colleague's going to probably tell you you didn't put enough, and you're going to find this really nice balance of not enough and too much. Because you do have to talk about yourself the same way you would in a resume. You do have to not inflate, but you have to describe your career. You have to describe your path, and you have to do it in a way that makes you feel comfortable. The other thing I always remind people is, when a question, the last time you were in a group photo and you looked at the photo and you didn't look at yourself first? Probably never, right? Like we just don't. No one's looking at you. And so if you can keep that in the back of your mind, that you're not, it's like, it's not about me necessarily all the time. So making these changes, talking about your career, talking about the things you've done, it's okay, because we're only looking when we're looking. We're not stalking each other 24/7 going, oh, I can't believe that Erica said she worked on this project when there was 5 people on the project. It's like, well, she did work on the project, so it's okay to say that. No one's doing that. So getting past that fear barrier of, am I inflating my career? Am I inflating myself is key. Once you do that, you just want to make sure that you put that packaged information, the bio, your work history, the resume, the beautiful, outline of your career and who you are, in lots of places. Not that you have to continuously manage, but just to have it there, because again, you don't know where people are going to find you. And if we find one version of you in one place, let's say LinkedIn, and we find another version of you on Facebook, we're going to find it in the same place, which is page 1 of Google. It sends an inconsistent message. So make it match, align, right? Like pick one really nice photo and think of that photo as your logo. Right? You don't see a McDonald's changing the color of the arches every other day. So find a nice photo that really shows you as a person and what you're trying to achieve. Use that in multiple places and make sure that the bios all align. And anything that you want private, double check that it actually is private. And then you're set. From there, it's like, okay, now go after the job. Go, put yourself out there, go on the date. Before, the other thing to do is to remember, people are really savvy when it comes to searching. We're all internet stalkers now, and we need to search our own phone number, our own address, our spouse's address, our addresses and phone numbers, previous jobs. Like really get into what is out there. I know I found out actually by a friend of mine who trains guys to get better like online dates, basically. Okay, so the trick is they take your phone number, they Google it, and they find everything about you with your phone number. So you don't even have to tell them anything else about yourself. So they take it that far, right? And you only have to do it once every 2 or 3 years, to be honest, unless you have a very active party lifestyle or something that you need to keep checking on. I don't know. And just let it sit there, right? You're never going to know you're never going to know who's searching for you or how often they're doing it. But like I said, at the very least, you can understand what they're going to find, and you'll start getting feedback. And that feedback loop will start to inform all of the decisions you make moving forward. And you only 99% of the time receive positive feedback. If someone thinks something negative, they're going to keep it to themselves. You'll never really know what happened, and you can move on. So that feedback loop becomes really important.
No, and those are really important things. I was going to ask you what the first steps are to create your personal brand, but you kind of actually answered that in the last question, because you touched upon the importance of kind of making sure everything is consistent. So really you can do that yourself as a starting point. After you do that, is that something that you would hire someone to help you with? Would you dive deeper? Is it something that as the people listening today, can they do that on their own? Is just getting a consistent messaging enough, or do we have to go another layer? And if so, what would that be?
So as someone who owns an agency that does this, I'm going to tell you that most people don't need to hire someone. And the truth is it's really when there's a couple of reasons you would need to hire someone. Your goals impact something else. So example of the just like sort of the scope of people we would work with in this case would be, you've launched a business that benefits from your success, or you're in a highly competitive city and you're trying to get your kid into the best preschool. We've worked with people that way too. And they're like, we need to make sure that we look great because it's highly competitive. They only have one spot. So yes, in those cases, you want to do that. Or there's something negative about you online. So let's say a mugshot that someone's trying to, get money from you in some way, or there's old pictures, and you just need like an expert in digital marketing to kind of weigh in on that. Those are the times you really want to hire someone in a campaign style. The second time, or in a smaller scope where you'd want to hire someone, would be to help write your bio or to help create a brand image that you can run with. But I would definitely shy away from an ongoing campaign that you're paying for out of pocket. You want to work for a company that'll pay for it. And I do think that we're heading in that direction where a lot of organizations are going to start paying for their employees to have, their brands looked at and cleaned up and, sort of corporate sponsored. We do work with companies that are doing that now. But as an individual, it's an expense that on an ongoing basis is not necessary. I think you're going to have plenty of people in your life that you can lean on and weigh in on. And there's so many resources online and out there that can help you perfect it. It's really just at your core, if you feel uncomfortable getting that bio written and getting maybe some headshots or stylized brand identity created. But other than that, yeah, I'd say try it yourself first before you spend money. Because if you're not spending an ongoing amount of $5,000-$10,000 a month, you're going to be the small fish in the big pond. So you're not really going to get the full scope. So go to someone for like one-off things that you need, but at the end of the day, I'd say manage it yourself.
No, that's really important. So one more question before we wrap, because I want to just ask you this. Where can someone find resources for building a personal brand? Are there some areas that you would suggest that they could go to? Obviously, they could go to you. That's one. But what are some other options for them?
Yeah, so I always say look for people that are doing it. Look for people first. There's tons of companies that'll show you how to do it, but what to do. It's really important to identify someone that you're like, wow, I love what they're doing. Like, let me go figure out what they're doing and then take it back. And then you can go to, people like Leonard Kim and Dory Clark. I mean, these are experts in the personal branding field who've written several books, and they're consistently putting content out that'll keep you up to date and up to speed on what to do next. I think, don't lean so much on, again, I'm like biting myself in the foot here. Like, books that tell you why to do it and give you scope are great, but printed books on tactical, up-to-date information aren't always great because they're outdated by the time you get them. So if you're looking, you're like, I already figured out how to do it. I've got my bio, I've got my brand image. Now, how do I implement it online? in that case, find current articles and current instructionals from people who are experts and are constantly putting out content. And like I said, Dory Clark's a great resource. Leonard Kim's a great resource. Places like Moz, actually Moz.com, they do great like whiteboard Fridays about the subject. But definitely don't dive into old content too much.
Sorry, I think that's great, and I saw everyone's writing it down, so they're definitely like scratching it down. And I know that you have 2 gifts that you're sending to the audience that the team is going to drop in, which is 5 tips for LinkedIn bio optimization for healthcare professionals, and then also Women in Network. You have a platform, so you're giving everyone a discount, 10% off if people want. So there's going to be 2 options in the chat that we're sending it in. And I just wanted to thank you. So it was so great having you. And I know that everyone really it's important for obviously personal branding, and the sites that you had referenced and the tips that you had suggested are really, really important. So thank you so much, Cynthia. It was so great to see you.
Thank you too. And this has been a great job. I'm actually like 9 months pregnant, so I'm like trying to breathe through this. So hearing Courtney talk before, I was like, oh, I could do it too. I could do it too. I'm gonna get there.